Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Laura Elizabeth as Lyric, and Tyler Hewitt as Alto. My report shows that the Inquisitorial Band's ship was attacked by Orks over Vicodin Prime. Valentyne attempted to care about his team's personal motivations. Alto wants to pilot a Titan, and Lyric was confused by anyone's interest in her feelings. Can they survive an Ork assault and get to the planet's surface? Find out in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From the Imperial Report on Xenos, Chapter Many. Orks are an incredibly tough, warlike species that seems quite content to merely slaughter and fight in the names of their gods. How they can manage to build these machines and fly them and shoot them and slash with them is truly beyond me, as the machine spirit would not seem to be present in a single one. But nevertheless, they are a force to be reckoned with and should be dealt with cautiously. From an intercepted Ork transmission. Daka daka daka, daka daka, wah! Daka 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 daka, meow! So, yeah, that's what I would like you to build. Yeah, I can build that. You were on the receiving end of said daka 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 dakas as the Ork sluggers and shooters open up in fine form. If you'll recall, you're currently entering the atmosphere, heading down to the Vicodin distillery in search of Glass Cow Vicodin, one of the Confederacy that has set out to kill our beloved God Emperor and his golden throne. You entered the incredibly foggy and densely clouded planetary atmosphere only to encounter a burst transmission of wah, followed by the trademark Daka Daka of the shooters, which I mostly remember because when I was playing Orks, so much of the dialogue was just them yelling noises they thought their guns made, and it just tickles me so deeply that rather than trying to describe weapons, they're like, yeah, it's like it's long, and it goes like Daka Daka Daka, and the thing comes out and they die. It's like, oh yeah, sure. I'll get you one of those right here. So you're on the receiving end of that right now. Around you, around the ship, there are currently 4 massive aircraft. And the best way to imagine these is think like a World War II Spitfire if it was built out of trash in a junkyard and then painted by a 4-year-old who really liked Hot Wheels. It's kind of in that vein. Lots of bright colors. Admittedly, they're very beautiful and distinctive. And I feel like Alto, for you, there is... just in the glimpses, in that kind of like back end of terror that you try not to pay any attention to when you're in under threat. You can see just these weird flashes of genius, and really like these are the kind of vehicles you could imagine building. I don't think anything off a factory line would ever be something you would ever imagine you could build, just because your hive world had no real factories to speak of. Yeah, something that you hammer together out of stuff you found is basically the story of most of your gear. So you already you have an immediate begrudging respect, I think, for these opponents. Just moments before the slugs start tearing into the armor around the vehicle. Lyric, do you think you would know Orks? I mean, it's entirely possible. They're enough of a threat, I think, to the galaxy that it's entirely possible.
I feel like there could have, there would have been, propaganda about them, no?
I feel like...
Or maybe not.
So Imperial propaganda is a strange beast, because the Xenos are generally, lumped together. It's just like the Xenos are... Basically, if it's not human, shoot it, is the general rule. Which also leads me to think that I feel like it'd be more like a District 12... District 9. District 12 is from Hunger Games. District 9 poster where it's just like a big spooky silhouette of a hypothetical alien that's just like, Xenos, kill.
Right.
But also, I don't think orcs would have ever, I don't think your particular planet ever encountered orcs. And actually, I don't need to say I don't think. I'm the god of this world. Orcs never found their way to your planet.
Yeah.
But that said, they are definitely a known quantity because they have like destroyed enough planets and are enough of a threat that like you might know them by name. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, Lyric picks up stuff. She socks away information she's heard. She's had to do. She did some bounties for some of the Inquisition, like or the Inquisitors. So
Okay.
probably, yeah.
Right,
I would say she's aware, but in that like aware, never expecting to encounter.
Okay, so like how I
But
think of the
also
Kardashians. They
Yeah,
exist,
exactly.
but like,
And will probably have a very negative reaction when she does encounter them.
I mean, so me with the Kardashians. Yeah, I getcha.
Yeah.
Daka Kardashian.
Very cool. Okay, great. So, yeah, I think then similar to I think how we think about the way that sailors used to talk about mermaids or foreign lands or anything else. You've heard of greenskins. You've heard of like there's a lot of tall tales that I think have come across your mental desk. It's a stupid metaphor, but you get what I'm picking. You're picking up what I'm putting down. It's me slapping myself for those of you listening at home. Cool. So you're not. I don't think you know enough to recognize this technology, but anything screaming into a microphone and shooting at you generally needs to die. And Valentyne, I think based on what you've told me about your other, like you've trained against sort of like automated versions of most Xenos, so I feel like that's probably the best you've had for orcs.
Yeah, I feel like he'd have had that for orcs because, I mean, he started off being trained as a commissar before he went to the Inquisition, and orcs are probably the most common Xenos foe that you'd throw guard against, like orcs and Nids. If it's Eldar, like or Aeldari or whatever they're called now, but like...
I'm going to call him Eldar the whole fucking time.
Guard are fucked. You just got to hit him with like a big chunky tank. Like, that's not going to be infantry.
Well, but also they're squishy. Like, they wear armor, but they're like...
They're fast and sneaky.
Shooting a space elf is like shooting a space human. It's the same. Whereas the orcs are like legitimately much tougher and can take a lot more.
Yeah. Also, he's got some points in forbidden lore, so I feel like he's also a book guy. He probably reads what he can.
No, but I think that's a really good point though about commissars being trained against orcs, and I feel like you've probably been privy to like the dissection of an orc and like some other kind of gross, weird space fascist stuff, largely because orcs are also plentiful. Like when they descend on a planet, it's a swarm. It's not like Nids where it's like, obviously there's a lot of Nids in a Nid fleet, but like they attack with purpose. They're not just like, oh, we're here now. Like, cha-cha, let's go. Okay, so we'll say you've got the most familiarity. And I think if you're a forbidden knowledge guy and also with that commissar training, the wah over the radio would probably make it abundantly clear what you're dealing with.
Oh, balls. All right. So it's orcs, friends. I mean, great news. Thank you, Emperor. Thank you. Very fast, not very maneuverable. Shoot a great deal, not tremendously accurately, but they will definitely kill us if they hit. I'm imagining this is an invasion. Could we please find Imperial forces and set down within them? Please, please, please very much.
Okay, so a few things are happening all at once. These three planes are opening fire with their heavy shooters, so just getting the full Daka treatment as, to Valentine's point, not every bolt hits, but the ones that do sound like that heavy hail that hits cars, like they're denting the exterior of the vehicle. Happily, it is it's armored enough for breaching atmospheres, so it's a hardy vehicle, but not for long. So Valentyne is given the order to try and connect to some kind of Imperial force somewhere on planet or off planet. Ryan, what do you think you'd be after?
Probably on planet. We still need to get to, unless there is someone off planet. We didn't see anybody off planet, so my guess is we still got to get Glasgow Vicodin. So
yeah. Okay, so basically your options as I see them are you need someone flying the ship. So Alto, I assume you're still at the controls, still rocking out. With Acri being your Chewbacca. You've basically, someone's going to have to operate scanners, because I feel like evasive maneuvers are going to take up all of Alto and Acri's time. Acri trying to find where on the planet you can land, Alto actually flying. In terms of weapon systems, the ship does not seem particularly well equipped for, it does have some weapons, but it's not meant for dogfighting, if that makes any sense. So it's more a strong deterrent. So probably like
He has that one gun. That
it's like
to blow up that fuel tank thing.
Yeah. So you've got like the las cannon. I think it's like a single las cannon kind of deterrent. And then likely we'll say, since we're kind of sticking with the airplane metaphors, front-mounted bolters. So if you want a dogfight, you can like fire hard ammo at the front. Otherwise, you have the one we'll say it's on a full gimbal up top, Millennium Falcon style, just so you can get full use. But single las cannon that can either be operated by the pilot or by someone at a weapons station. So essentially you have two jobs. It's up to you, Valentyne and Lyric, who wants to take what. Keep in mind, you do also have your new best friend, Haldren Blackhand, who's like, wow, those guns sure are making impressive noises. I would love to get my hands on one of those, all of them. And like, you can see all the spider hands doing like a Mr. Burns steeple over top of his head.
Well, Lyric, if you would like to take the guns, perhaps I'll take the scanners. And Haldren, if anything breaks, please fix it for the Emperor's sake. Cheerfully and hopefully, but fix it.
Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Let's do some battles.
So I'll immediately run up to the top, whatever that is. What did you say it was?
Oh, it's a las cannon.
Las cannon?
Yeah. So you hop up, and you kind of like click on all the gear. I think you find that the actual little chair and sort of setup you've got there isn't. It almost feels disused. You get the sense that the arbitrator likely did everything from the cockpit in the same way Alto did previously. So this is here, but he often seemed to just fly alone. So it's kind of one of those disused spaces. So I'm going to need you, please, to see if you can get, and maybe I'll give you the option here. You can.
I just looked around for my dice.
I mean, yeah, RAP Genesys system. It's very redundant. Cool. So I think, please, what I'd like from you, Laura, is a tech use. So that's intellect and tech use.
Oh, no.
Or I will give you a cunning and cool, which would be you realizing that this is far beyond your knowledge and you should just be asking Alto. I guess it's the question of, do your hands immediately go for the joystick, being like, I'm going to shoot these fuckers out of the air, in which case I want tech use? Or is it like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this?
No, Lyric is too calculating in her fighting, especially long range stuff. She's not one to take chances.
Okay, great. So in that case, we'll say cunning and cool, presence and cool. Those are the two that go
cool.
together.
It's a little bit better. Oh, that's actually not better at all. It's exact fucking the same. Okay. All right. What's my difficulty?
I'm gonna say because you're consulting Alto too, it's gonna be a much easier one. In terms of story points, I'm gonna go ahead and say we're 3-1 in your favor.
Okay.
I'm gonna limit our pool a bit more. We've been doing 6, but I realize that usually just means there's like a big pad, and I'd rather just keep it sort of one point for each of us, essentially. For this session, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm gonna give you one setback. Because he's splitting his attention between flying and communicating with Acri and like not really paying attention. Also, I think in combat he always just kind of assumes you've got what you need.
Yeah.
But I will also give you a boost because you're generally, I feel like having a barrier between you and being able to fight back is really frustrating. So there's a certain determination to I don't care what it takes to make this work. I would like to make this work.
All right. I got to use one of those story points.
Go ahead, my friend.
Because we are looking real rough with these dice here.
All right, cool. So we are now at 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Cool.
Even split.
2 successes and 2 threats.
2 successes and 2 threats. Okay, so you open up with you flip on the comms. What would you say to Alto to get him to help you on this?
Just very straightforward. Alto, I need your help with this.
Okay, you need to turn that on. You need to access that and hold on. And I think it sticks to the left a little.
Okay.
You wiggle it like there's just a quick frustrated wiggle out of the stickiness, and you're like, oh yeah. That is true. You're not going to tell him, but it's true. And you regain control of the stick. So, turning the las cannon on the first craft, I would assume, given that this is a weapon you're not that familiar with, even though you did see it blow up that other ship, you just kind of fire a lancing blast off, just to kind of get a feel for it. But the nice thing about las weapons is it's a nice straight beam for a hot second there. So it shears across one of the orc fighters. And sorry, for scale, these things are bigger than they're kind of midway between a bomber and a Spitfire. So like they're not as big as your ship, but they're not little craft like sort of buzzing around you. They're a little smaller than the one you're in.
You mean it's not a bunch of orcs going tick, 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 like little fly?
Look, Laura, the session is we're still early in the session. Yeah. There are guys called Storm Boys, and you might be about to meet some. So just hang tight. There's gonna be some flying orcs. Just hang on. So the blast shears across kind of the top of the nearest ship. Just for the purposes of our brains, the predominant color on each of these is what we'll go by. So we've got a red plane, a yellow plane, and a blue plane. So your blast shears across the top of yellow. And it kind of disappears. Now, keep in mind, you're coming through this kind of like dense cloud cover and fog. So you're just getting glimpses of these colors through the gaps. There's unfortunately no real clear line of sight. But you definitely strike a hit and you see it pull away. So where it was clearly flying information around you, it's pulled off, having been struck. And over the because you rolled 2 threat over the radio, still through the static, you hear, well, okay, boys, seems like it's time to go. Strap them on and take them out. Go Orks! And then you hear a number of rocket blasts, and buzzing out of the clouds come the Storm Boys, who are orcs with rockets strapped to their backs and little tiny flight goggles, who just kind of, you see almost like in a Disney movie like Mulan, when someone fires off a bunch of like rockets all at once, they all kind of spray off in different directions. It's kind of that vibe. So like clearly they all just like burst out of the back of the ship. All their rockets kind of fire in different directions. So you see kind of a bunch of flares around you. But the Storm Boys are in action. Alto and Valentyne, what is your base agility? Or sorry, what is your base? We'll go with cool.
Cool. I have 1 rank in cool and 3 presents, so 4.
Okay.
Or no, sorry. Oh man, it's been a minute since I used the system. Okay. 2 green, 1 yellow is what that would translate to for me.
I am very bad at cool. Am I looking at scanners or what am I doing?
You're looking at scanners. This is for initiative. I just want to know who's going next. So
yeah,
if
cool,
you're bad at it, no, it's cool. If you're bad at it,
I got like 2 dice just for presents. I got nothing in cool.
Gotcha. All good, man.
He instinctually shoots things when stuff goes bad. It's a terrible habit.
Great.
He is John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, just all the time. Just a bump in the car, there's a dead guy in the back.
I mean, look, that's why there's car washes. Okay, so Alto, you are again, cutting through the clouds, fightercraft are firing at you. What do you do?
Since I don't have a heading from Acre yet, it's purely evasive maneuvers. I think Alto's thinking is we can't blast back into space because it's all just open sky. We need to get closer to the ground, I think, where there's potentially more cover.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So with that in mind, let's go with Tyler, it's also been a hot second for me. Remind me, what were we using for? We're using driving, right? For flight?
Yeah.
That makes the most sense. So can you give me a driving check, please? I'm going to say this is difficulty. It would have been 3, but given that Lyric just kind of like temporarily scared one off, we're going to say 2, but I'm going to upgrade both of those to red. So we are now 4 and 0 in your favor.
This is a serious situation. What do I have at my disposal? Like this thing doesn't have any kind of shielding or anything like that, right?
No. So this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but my understanding of most 40k stuff is shielding is like armor, more particularly for the Imperium. It's more armor than it is fields. Would that be?
Yeah, I mean, capital ships might have fields. Like if you're looking at battleships or cruisers, individual ships, it's like, nope, they just strap plate to it. Unless you got
essentially an armored car.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot by way of armor. Now, that said, the good news, if there is good news, is that orc armaments do tend to be either wildly explosive because they just like hack together a laser and it's like there's no safeties on it, so it's like deadly for them and you, or it's hard ammo. So the advantage you have is like it's not like lasers are piercing through the ship.
Okay.
It is just kind of this hail of bullets.
Okay, so I will use my hand on the throttle ability, which is once per round I increase or decrease speed by 1 to a minimum of 0 or max of vehicle top speed. So I just want to put more and more distance between us.
Okay, great.
Between us and these ships or these planes pursuing us.
All right, so let's take that then as I'll say we'll go with 2 boost.
Okay.
As a benefit of that. I'm going to give you... I'd actually say these cancel each other out, so we won't do any of them. But technically, 1 setback and 1 boost for flying through clouds. It makes the orcs harder to see, but it also makes you easier to dodge.
Right.
Makes it easier for you to dodge, rather. Cool. I think that's it for me.
Okay. I've got my mind impulse unit plugged in. That helps me with driving and tech use, so +1 blue for that as well.
Nice.
But I think that's all the bonuses I get for driving, which is fine.
Sorry, you can take 1 more for Acre.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to roll. We have all the story points now, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay.
And you can use them to upgrade. You just can't use them to downgrade the ones I've already spent.
Man, Alto, you are literally baby driver. 6 successes, 3 advantages.
Sometimes all you need is a good beat. Holy shit. Okay, so this is full on like the Falcon through the asteroid field, just like dipping and dodging, storm boys crashing into each other like they're the fucking angels in the outfield.
That's such a weird pull.
Look, man, whenever I see 2 people run into each other and miss something important, it's a sports movie. Cool. Okay. Hang tight on those, but yes, you're in tremendously good shape. Given this ambush, fuck, man, that was what, 6 successes?
Yeah, brought down. Like that's the net. I rolled 7 successes and 6 advantages, but then I got 1 failure and 3 threats.
Holy shit, man.
All right, everybody go home. I think Tyler's got this for all of us for the rest of the session.
As long as it's not combat, I'm great. if it's about the running away part, I'm your guy.
Good thing the space wolves are space marines, not literal wolves from space. You'd be in dire trouble. Okay, Ryan, can you go ahead, please, using the instruments here? I think we're going to go with tech use. and intellect.
Okie dokie. What's my difficulty?
I'm going to say 1. You start meddling with the scanners. It's actually quite, even though this is old tech, it's comfortable for you to be back in an Imperial craft that isn't like a weird civilian pleasure cruiser. The fact that this is built for military means you're better equipped for it. I will give you 1 setback just for like the heat of combat being distracting, particularly with like Alto fucking baby drivering all over the place. It makes it somewhat harder to like fiddle with knobs and dials. But I will give you 1 boost for your little servitor buddy.
Awesome. Tom, I do have tempered will, which means I can remove 1 black die inflicted by critical injuries, the disoriented condition, and fear. Would that remove that die?
I'd absolutely take that for this because
Cool.
all the like ducking and weaving and barrel rolling is definitely disorienting. So having just fucked with some spaceflight games in VR, very disorienting, not fun. So yeah, that's great.
Cool, and I'll use a story point because he's not great at tech use, but spiritually he needs the future.
Gotcha.
Sheer determination, and I feel like he's singing himself a song as he always does when he's nervous, and he knows one specifically that's orc related, so it's just quietly going for himself, and it's just orcs, they tremble when they hear it, knobs, they know they ought to fear it, it's so bright they cannot smear it, everybody loves it, your throne. Just humming away.
Wow.
3 advantages, but 1 failure.
Okay, interesting.
Lyric hates it, but Laura's in heaven. That was beautiful.
Lyric hates the lyrics. What a day. Okay. What an inconvenient pool of dice. Okay.
There are lots of Imperial people around. I just don't know where the chug they are.
Yeah, actually, realistically, that is kind of the issue. So you immediately find an Imperial frequency. Oh, actually, no. Okay, I know what to do with that. So you actually managed to make contact with an Imperial frequency. Coming from planet side, you quickly recognize it as a like an Imperial Guard frequency. It seems to be a regiment of some sort. And you hear a voice on the other end say, unidentified Imperial vessel. Can you identify, please?
Hello, this is Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne requiring a safe berth for my ship. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hail the Emperor.
Yes, hail the Emperor and such. This is shift leader Mebius Pocus. Listen, sir, we didn't have any scheduled visitors coming in today. And I gotta tell you, I'm under strict orders not to spare any assistance for anyone. So you're kind of on your own there, champ. But listen, if you can break the orc line and make it to our side, well, we'll definitely cover you as you come down. Here's the coordinates. Good luck. Hail the Emperor.
Wonderful. Your name was Mebius Pocus, just to be entirely clear.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Shift Commander Mebius Pocus.
Shift Commander Mebius Pocus. Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you for assisting the Inquisition.
Okay, you have yourself a pleasant Imperial day, sir. Also, listen, if it's not too much trouble, if you do survive and make it past the line, I'd really appreciate it if you could fill out an employee review form. If you were pleased with your service here today.
Can Lyric hear this?
I don't know. Do you think you'd be pumping it through the? How do you imagine you're connected this with? Would this just be through like a Vox and the?
Yeah, I'm imagining it's probably like a cop. Like if we're picturing the cop car, that it's like the talk into the hand thing.
Yeah, okay, then yes, 100% you can hear it.
Hey, Mebius, shut the fuck up and let us fly.
Okay, you know what? Maybe don't let her fill out the form, or don't fill it out at all.
Yes, understood. Thank you very much. And then he'll just like release the thing and put it down and be like, you don't have to be rude to him. I'm probably going to shoot him when we land.
Well, then it's even more of a waste of time for him to talk. Like,
No, they
seriously.
said they'd cover us if we get through the Ork lines, so we have
Yeah.
something to gain, which we now still have. Then I kill him afterwards, so we don't die.
God, you people do things so slowly. Let's go.
Well, I'm not flying. Why are you yelling at me?
That'd be me. Hold on, and just like hard like deceleration and like strong pivot, and we're like lined up with the new coordinates and just like full throttle it.
Amazing. So, you say that over your shoulder, you turn, and again, just like baby driving like no one's business. This could not be going better for you. But unfortunately, back where you come from, most bugs that splatter on the windshield are small. Here, they're plated in armor and are carrying choppas. So as you spin the vehicle, you hear a sickening crunch as the viewport makes contact with a different manner of bug, a storm boy whose jetpack forces what's left of his shredded corpse through the windshield, shattering it, and the air in the cockpit begins to be sucked out. Haldron looks up and goes, "Oh yeah, fixing things."
Yeah,
Yes, Holbrook, that'd be great. Is there like an oxygen drop we can do? They have those on some ships. They had it on the Astral Line if we needed it.
Nope, I don't think so. Hey, Acri, how about you? Yeah, y'all, I'm not seeing anything like that on here. I think he kept real bad care of this. Maybe just hold your breaths, huh?
Yeah, everybody else, hold your breath. And then he'll also activate his shield around himself, hoping it'll hold in some amount of environment. He doesn't know.
Which is good, because flying full tilt at the shattered cockpit viewport are 3 screaming storm boys. From the Arbites Vessel Manual, page 89. And remember, if your viewport breaks, you shouldn't have been flying in upper atmosphere. Please see addendum number 3. Air is blasting through the broken viewport. Alto, you have a bit of an advantage here, because you're hardwired in. Disadvantage being the cabin pressure is dropping rapidly. Good news is, though, that you're out of like fire atmosphere. You're just in thin air atmosphere. So you have the coordinates now. You'd basically just stomped on the gas when the Ork Storm Boy came through the windshield. You've got 3 more Orks kind of flying in now, which unfortunately can't really avoid. That said, you have a couple options. Either A, you can attempt to floor it and get the ship just kind of to the checkpoint as fast as you can. Or B, you can throw yourself off course in an attempt to reduce the amount of Orks who will make it through the windshield. Which would you like to do? I
would veer off course to reduce the number coming into the cockpit.
Okay. Great. So let's do a pilot check. This one's going to be considerably harder just because of all the havoc that's going on. So we'll say piloting difficulty 4. I'm going to give you 2 setback for oxygen related issues. Mm-hmm. I'll give you again. You get your 2. I believe it's 2 blue from your hardwiring. Is that correct?
Or 1 is what I gave myself. Yeah.
You get 1 more from Acri, who of course doesn't need to breathe. And I think, Tyler, I'll give you 1 more for the fact that you don't actually need to aim. Actually, I'll tell you what. You can have 1 more boost if you don't care about the trajectory anymore. If you want to stay close enough to the trajectory that it'll be very easy to get back on, then don't take that blue.
We're just going to get a sail by more and more until we break the line. So I'll keep us on trajectory.
Yep.
Can I use a story point?
You sure can.
I don't have any greens to upgrade to yellow.
Okay, so then we'll take that as Let's take it as a green. Oh, actually, no. Let's say you upgrade one of your blues to a green. That makes the most sense.
okay.
Let's use that system from now on. That makes so much more sense than
Cool.
the mangled versions I came up with on the fly during Dumb Scum. Okay, so this brings us to 2 and 2 again with our story dice. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm ready to roll.
Just before you do, Tyler, the only other thing I guess I would offer is Valentyne. You could theoretically assist. However, there are orcs coming through the windshield, and I assume you're getting into combat, not into like I'll stay.
Correct.
On the... Yeah. Cool. So no assist.
Okay. Wow. That was a tough one. 1 success, 1 threat is the result.
Okay. Given how spectacularly you rolled last session on your evasive maneuvers, I'm going to give you a slight edge on this, just because I think that roll was so astoundingly good that it's worth echoing throughout the ages, to be told by the bards to future generations. Okay, so I'll say you don't manage with that. You manage to kind of roughly jerk the craft to starboard enough so that one of the storm boys just like smashes off the side. You hear a sickening crunch of bones and metal before the rocket kind of pings off the side of the craft and flies away. 2 of them manage to make it in. You're off the trajectory, but not by much. You feel like one proper check will bring you back in line. That said, I am going to need you, please, to roll me a survival check. Unfortunately, your cold weather gear that I believe you and Valentyne still have, I know Lyrics was pretty shredded. It does not help against suffocating or thin air.
No, it wouldn't. What is the difficulty against this roll?
It's going to crank up based on the turn. To start with, we're going to say it's at a 1.
Okay.
There's still enough. Right now, it's more just a pain in the ass as air kind of gets forced down your throat, but soon it will be very problematic.
Okay, I'm ready to roll.
Go ahead.
2 successes, 2 threats.
Okay. Great. Cool. So it's uncomfortable, but again, you're hardwired. When you are hardwired, Tyler, how do you imagine that feels for Alto? Is it like a Matrix thing? We've talked about this briefly before, but I'm curious. There's something really fascinating to me about the idea of if you're jacked into something and your brain is engaged through electronics, how do you feel about the meat attached to the metal that you're using?
I think Alto... I think it's different from jacking into something like a computer and jacking into something like a vehicle. Mm-hmm. I think for a vehicle, it's you remain in your body and just kind of almost like a HUD appears in your vision of what you're looking for, charting courses, various like diagnostics and things like that.
Yeah.
That's how I see that.
Okay, I like that.
Because you want to be driving, right? You need to be able to see what you're doing. So I think it's kind of like double vision of this additional information and stuff like that.
I think that also tracks with the kind of technology that we know exists in the Imperium, particularly in 40K, because you need like proper astropaths to chart like space course. So it makes sense to me that this would be like, no, you need your eyes because either get a powerful psychic and they'll do it for you and their heads will explode when they're done, or look out the front window. Yeah. So cool. I like that a lot. Okay. So then still very aware of the physical degradation of losing cabin pressure. Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Great. Lyric, you haven't acted in a bit. But... Oh, okay. Actually, no, this is a good question. So you hear the commotion downstairs. don't think you have direct line of sight on unless you kind of like poke your head down and around. Do you think you would stay focused on repelling the aircraft, or would you go to see what the commotion is?
I would stay focused on my job because I kind of have to trust. I'm not actually useful down there. So, but I think I will like calm to Alto and just say like, now is an excellent time to get us the hell out of here. Just a reminder.
All you hear back is, help, help, we've been boarded.
Like I said, the faster, the better.
Okay. Lyric, there are three aircraft that you're engaged in combat with. The yellow, and again, please do remember, when I say the yellow aircraft, it's not fully yellow. It's not the magic school bus. It is of the hideous patchwork of colors. Yellow is the most prominent. Yellow is the one you scored a hit on earlier. Mm-hmm. It seems to have pulled off, so it's harder to see, but it's also further out, and it's not currently contributing storm boys and fire to what's occurring to the ship. You can see blue and green, I believe, were the other two colors. Did we say blue and green? No, sorry, blue and red. Because
red, yellow, and blue are the plain
colors.
colors.
Yeah, because I didn't want to use green because the orcs. Okay, great. So I guess my question to you is, would you try and sight the target that you already hit, or would you go for one of the closer ones that's still actively firing?
Oh, one of the actively firing ones, 100%.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
You can aim for red or blue?
Red.
All right, light them up.
Because, I don't know, I'll imagine it bleeding or something.
As you do that, you actually, your vision blurs slightly. And even though it's just kind of an enemy craft nearby, you can feel tremendous psionic energy coming off of it. And so much so that as your eyes kind of defocus, you, even though you kind of can't visually see it, you can kind of see it through the clouds. So go ahead and roll your attack, please. So I believe we'd said this was
Tech use.
Yeah.
it was tech use to boot it up. You
Or was
can now,
cool.
You
Cool,
can
it
now,
was cool.
Yeah, you can now switch over to gunning. You needed the first check to get kind of all the systems on board and running, but now that they're up and running, it's a gun.
So heavy range?
I think gunnery.
Gunnery is the one we're going to go with.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
so
its own thing. Shit.
It is, yeah. So gunnery
fuck.
and agility.
I have no ranks in that.
But you got agility.
Yeah, Laura,
I do have agility, yes.
I will say, how much do you have in ranged heavy?
I have one rank in that.
Okay. I'm going to let you use that for this because you successfully passed the Hey Alto patch me in piece. If that had all
that's
gone
nice.
really, really badly, then I think it would just be like it's gunnery, but it also doesn't quite make sense to me that someone who's used to like firing a big heavy weapon when sitting in a heavy weapon would be like, this is a more comfortable version of what I normally do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What are next?
What are gun?
So, Laura, I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 3
Yikes.
based on your range band. I'm going to give you 2 blue for the defocusing red business that's going on.
Sweet.
You get the standard 1 setback for cloud cover. I think this is kind of Calvin Bally with how physics works, but I think based on your position in the aircraft, you will be feeling the effects of the depressurization next round.
Yeah.
But not immediately, just because you're further back. I'm just leaning on a tremendous amount of pseudoscience about things I've read about bomber, like gunners who are in like the death pit at the back, where it's just like, well, okay, I guess that's it for me. Good luck. Cool. Yeah. I think that's it. Also, in terms of story points, it is currently set at 2 and 2.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna roll.
Go ahead.
2 successes and 1 threat.
Okay, so the cannon roars with a las blast that kind of like shakes you in your turret seat. The blast like clips the side of the fuselage, but the craft takes an incredible evasive maneuver off the hit. So you can see that there's fire trailing off the side of the craft. But for the hot second that you had it in your sights, this should have been a kill shot. It should have sheared the vehicle in half. So whoever's flying that is very, very good. But even with your kind of rudimentary understanding of your sort of latent, slowly revealing psyker powers, I think the fact that you could see this aircraft pulsing already gave you some suggestion that something weird was up.
Yeah.
So it's not a pleasant sensation that this happened, but also it's not like a full on like Haru.
Yeah.
You don't have to go full Tim the Toolman Taylor on it.
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of like, I kind of have this thought like, are those fuckers in my head? And then I'm just like, holy fuck, Alto called for help, and I like run.
Okay, so you're just disconnecting from the turret?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like Alto called for help, and I'm just like, no, gotta shoot.
Gotta shoot
I'm a
fast.
fucking idiot. He's dead. Fuck. Doesn't matter.
This is true, but like, but you shot them that one time though.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Ryan. Valentyne observes 3 Orc Storm Boys barreling down at the craft. Unfortunately, this was not covered in basic training. However, suddenly your vision blurs as Alto jams the stick, and you see one of them smash off, but then 2 of them come flying through the berth. Classic Orc Stormboy loadout, bolt pistol in one hand, or slugger rather in one hand, choppa, which is like an axe or like a hastily built chainsaw, basically anything that can chop, in the other. So
are these like orc terms?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Choppa,
orcs.
slugga.
Yeah, these are literally just.
Why are you talking so weird, Tom?
Orcs. It should also be noted that in literally all of, and I don't know why, but in all of the recorded 40K stuff, the orcs are just like cockney. Like that's just their whole thing. So there's like, I got my chopper. Kind of makes sense. But as you know, I take huge issue with the idea that every creature in a species would have the same accent, because man, that ain't right. So get ready for some upper crust British orcs, baby.
Yeah. The reason they use the term choppa and slugga is because there's actually no consistency. It's not like any other army where you'd be like, this is a las gun. Instead, it's like a slugga could be a 9mm handgun. It could be a sawed-off shotgun. It's literally whatever is in their hand. So a choppa could be a cleaver, a knife, an axe. It's
just be like a rusty piece of metal.
fun.
But the important thing is that it chops.
Yes.
Cool.
So it's literally like grab your because the theory would be like, all right, boys, we're going out to murder. Grab your slugger and your chopper. We got killing to do, and you're like, well, whatever that is for me is what I'm taking with me.
A shooter is like a slugga, only bigger. Like it's literally the dumbest logic possible. Like orcs are not known for intelligence.
If you want your shooter to shoot harder, it has to have Modaka. Like it builds. It just escalates.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole economy.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. That's why I insist on
Very
using
endearing.
it for so much of 2 episodes. There's going to be no like weird deep cut Necron references because I just don't know them. Beep boop. Necrons. There you go. There's your Necron reference for the day.
Classic Necron.
Yeah. Exterminate. All those classic terms they use.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile and all that.
I'll
Okay.
be back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That one, actually, that is one. On a roll of a 6. So, one of them is going to drive into you, Valentyne. You can tell just from the trajectory. One of them is going in kind of like just going to pinball into the back of the ship. You've got one coming directly at you. That said, because of Alto's maneuvers, you do have a moment to react. What do you do?
Right. I think he would like spin out of his chair because his shield's up. The chainsword in one hand revving, but it's just for defensive purposes. Bolt pistol in the other. And the one coming at him, he'd go, "Have you boys heard of the Emperor's Mercy?" "Me neither." And then he would shoot him with the bolt pistol.
All right, go ahead and roll. You're not too far away because he's flying directly at you. So I'm gonna say this is short range. So that's a 1. It's 1 purple. I'm gonna upgrade it though, just because of all of like the space and time things happening. And visually in my head, it's a very like Zack Snyder, like ballet of destruction, slow-mo motion. But in real time, it's just like you can't breathe and there's a screaming orc coming at you with a rocket strapped to his back. So less that. So that's 1 red for you there, sir. We're 3 and 1 in your favor on the story points. I'm going to give you similar to Alto's predicament, definitely one setback for oxygen depletion.
Tom, would my tempered will, which allows me to remove 1 black die inflicted by disoriented, count for that? Or critical injury or fear?
Not in this case, I don't think. I think give it a couple turns and maybe, but for now, it's I guess the dividing line I kind of want to draw on that skill is like, this is literally just like, it's inconvenient to have difficulty breathing. It's not like, I'm disoriented. It's like, no, I'm better than this. This is just kind of like, oh, this, makes your aim a little bit worse.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yep, cool. In this particular instance, that won't always be the case with checks like this, but I think in this case we'll go with that. I'll give you 1 blue, just for the fact that like, it's kind of hard to miss a target this big coming directly at you through a small space. So it's not like you have to aim everywhere. You just aim forward. It's like Doom, like the old Doom game, where it's just like your gun is just directly in front of you no matter where you look.
Coming out of your chest, yeah.
Yeah, just straight out. Just right out of the middle.
Yeah, he's doing like an Irish boxer pose. The sword's ready to deflect, but the gun's right there. Like they're both just close to his chest.
I like it. I've been playing a lot of Pistol Whip in VR, and it's all the John Wick gun stuff, so your hands are like real tight. And I feel really cool, but I look like a weird little T-Rex man. Cool. Okay, I think that might be it for me. Midnight Society. Does anybody else have anything they think should happen in this one, or any arguments they want to make for or against more dice?
Or Valentine's combat?
Yeah. I think the answer is probably no, but figured I'd throw it out to the board.
Definitely no from Lyric's perspective.
All right.
I'll take a story point because he's already injured, so he's going to be. What I will say is, being injured, he will be extra on his toes and ready to respond to things. So it's just him. It's like it's the it's the final down of the football game. He's aware with orcs, like no fuck ups today. Yep. So that's where he's coming from spiritually on that one.
Okay. Tyler, did you have any arguments for or against before we roll them bones?
I have a question, but it can be answered after. I'll take my answer off the air.
Okay, sure.
Cool. 3 successes, 1 triumph, and 1 threat.
Nice.
Yeah,
You haven't had a triumph in a while.
I don't know if I've ever rolled one.
Interesting.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Triumphanty successy. Okay. So, can you give me those numbers again, Ryan?
3 successes, 1 triumph, and 1 threat.
All right, let me just check my orc stats here. One moment. And Ryan, do you need a refresher on what you can do with tasty triumphs?
Yeah, man, I have no idea what I can do with the
Yeah,
triumph.
that's all good, brother. One moment.
If I can kill this orc the best, that's what I would like to do.
Okay, that's a valid point. Well, I'm going to mute myself so I can blow my nose and read the stat. Talk amongst yourselves.
Right on.
Ooh. So we're in a slow motion moment. So I'm busy shooting at an orc. How does Lyric climb down a ladder? Is it like a cool double hand slide, or is it like slowly one at a time?
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's one of those where so you've got like two rails beside you, and she just goes like front first and kind of
Oh, okay,
balances
yeah.
like kind of on her arms and like slides down that way.
So you're going down legs first?
Yeah, like yeah.
You got to get
100%.
that leg gun action going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, she's ready.
nice.
And Alto is just covered in glass and orc guts,
Just
flying.
Yeah, just barely holding it together.
Listening to an incredible soundtrack. Just baby driving away. Ryan, what's the damage on your bolter?
It is
Or bolt pistol?
10 damage.
Posty. All right. Well, interesting.
It also is Pierce 2, so it ignores 2 soak.
That is good to know. Does it ignore soak or defense?
It Pierce ignores soak.
Oh, damn. That's very
Interesting.
good news for you. Okay. So, I'm sorry, that's 10 damage?
Yep.
All right. So, let's see.
10 damage and ignores 2 soak.
All right. So,
Do I add for successes?
You do. I did the math for you over here.
Oh, great.
So, also I've got the soak value for the orc up in front of me, so it's just a little bit easier on my end.
Beautiful.
The orc is just barreling down on you, and it's just literally like blam. And you yell your cool line about Emperor's Mercy.
Use your oxygen for that.
You blast a hole straight through the orc's chest, and as you kind of duck out of the way, he slams through the chair. His body kind of skittering to the side. With a triumph, you've got some options over and above the murder you just did. So with a triumph, you can you can recover strain. You can add boost to the next character's check. You can notice an important point in an ongoing conflict. You can inflict a critical injury, but you don't need to because you blew up in his chest. You can take a free maneuver, which is like a move or a what have you.
I think what
Classic.
he'll...
Oh, actually, here's one you might want. You can ignore penalizing environmental effects till the end of the next. Until the end of your next turn.
Oh,
So-
done. I'm
Bury the
doing
lead,
that.
Tom.
Yeah.
I honestly,
No, that's great.
I did bury the lead because I was reading down a list of increasingly good. You could spend 3, and this is actually useful for all of us. I didn't realize this, but you can spend 3 advantage to do that. So if any of you get 3
nice.
spare advantage on an upcoming roll, you can be like, cool, I can breathe. Now, the only other thing I do want to point, actually, those are pretty good ones. I will say the other thing triumphs can do, and this is something we can definitely use more freely. They can let you do something. There's literally like do something vital, such as like shooting the controls on a blast door to seal them, that sort of thing. So the other option I'll give you, Ryan, is you can either use it to. I think we've established that there isn't like a convenient like button shutter for this, so it doesn't quite work here. But do keep in mind that triumphs can also be spent.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
I have a random pitch.
Go on.
Is there a button, perhaps, that would open the back of the plane so the other storm boy that is flying through might just go out the back of the plane?
I mean, we did describe this as the Quinjet from Avengers, which only has one defining feature other than where Widow and Hulk can sit to flirt. It's a back door.
I would like to find that button.
Great. So as you roll out of the way, you kind of fall against the console next to you as the Storm Boy like smashes through the chair. And as you kind of peel your face up off the machinery, you see it is very conveniently some kind of triumphant cargo door latch.
I slapped the shit out of it.
I assume you yell something about the Emperor as you do so? Or do you just
and I
slap
just
it
say-
and glower?
I feel like, no, he would never glower. I feel like he'd smile and go, "You're right. I am doing a good job. Thank you." And then hit the button because he would take that as like a thumbs up from the Emperor.
Okay, so you slam the button, and there's kind of like, that classic, like, look out, the cargo bay's opening, like, brrr, sound, flashing lights, the whole deal. So Great. And suddenly the suction is a completely different beast. The air is just shooting straight through here. It's a whole other thing. Two very important things happen. Three, actually, I should say, very important things happen. The Stormboy is coming through. It's just shooting straight through. The other one that you just shot, his rocket pack is still ricocheting him around as he bounces back towards the back of the aircraft. Also, Lyric is climbing down a ladder. And Haldren is not braced. So let's all roll some dice and see who survives. Lyric, let's go with you first.
I foresaw this.
Thanks for coming down, by the way. Appreciate it.
Honestly,
Just want you to know I appreciate it.
over the internal comm, you said he should just keep doing what he was doing. You didn't say you were coming. So Valentyne has no idea you're coming down.
Look, he's just explaining why he doesn't have clean towels for you. You know, he's just really embarrassed about it. All right. So, Laura, I think in this case, probably a coordination. Yeah. I think it makes the most sense. As a screaming, rocket-powered, vacuum-sucked Stormboy comes flying by.
Yeah, fair enough.
You hit the ground, sliding down. It's like just right in front of you.
Oh, I'm imagining like midway, like cool ladder slide. Like
So
you know,
I'm actually sliding, like I got like my arms on the rails, like sliding face first.
Stairs.
Oh, even worse. Okay, so
Even worse? Why worse?
Laura, can you describe exactly what you're doing? Because face first or feet first is really confusing.
Sorry,
people.
feet first. I meant facing forwards.
Oh,
Fuck.
yes. Okay, so we're on the same
Sorry,
page.
I'm not diving down.
Yeah, I was like, the fuck are you doing? Just like
I'll save you, says Lyric, swan diving down the ladder.
not cool
Thank
enough
you
for me.
for
I want to do a back arch
recognizing that,
off the
Ryan.
bottom of this ladder so everyone
Yeah.
knows I'm limber. Like, yeah, no, I was talking about like the fast slide where you just like in a video game you press triangle twice
Yeah.
rather than once. Just be like, woo!
I'm just like, yeah, but I'm facing forward,
Yes,
ready
I-
to like shoot
I
with my leg.
with your light gun. Well, you might get your chance. Cool. Okay, so roll this
Sorry, I
coordination.
just said
into-
mofo. It felt wrong as I said it.
It's okay. It's all right. We're all
mean,
here for you in your time.
We're here
of
for you,
need.
but we're all sorry you said it.
I know, I was gonna say motherfucker, but I'm like, I'm swearing a lot this episode. I should tone it down.
That's not our
Sorry.
show. To
Listen.
quote the construction guys I used to work with, you boot fuck that orc.
Jesus.
I mean,
Anyways,
I have not heard that term before.
so I guess that's what happened on break time with a construction site. You just
That's,
fuck your
that's
boots.
construction worker for kick something into place if it doesn't fit.
that's wonderful.
I can't get this panel to fit into place. Yeah. You just gotta boot fuck it. A guy yells at me while I'm 17.
This all tracks. This all makes sense. All right, roll to
right.
unboot fuck yourself.
Okay, sorry. What's my like modifier stuff?
Oh boy. All right, so I'm gonna say 4 purple. Just because orcs are big and he's rocket powered, and so that's generally a problem.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, no, never mind. We do need to do it in this order. Okay, so 4 purple. You're gonna have 1 setback for just the general climate of the air rushing, everything else, oxygen, all that shit.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, say again.
1 setback. So
1 setback, okay.
so 4 purple.
Yep.
No, sorry, did I say 4?
Yep.
You did.
Okay, 4 purple, 1 black. I'll give you a boost given that you were kind of planning to come down the ladder and leg cap a mofo, as you so eloquently put it. So given that you weren't just like down I go, oh no, like you were expecting to get the drop on someone, you're getting ambushed
in hot.
yourself. But yeah, exactly, you're coming in hot. I'm also going to give you 1 setback because you're. No, you know what? I'm going to neutralize this one because you get 1 setback for it being harder to dodge things on a ladder, but you also get an advantage against being sucked out the back because you're currently hanging onto a ladder. So those two nullify each other. So it's a wash. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Spending a story point.
By Parker Brothers.
Spent.
Great.
Okay. Rolling. 4 successes!
Hey.
Huzzah!
Huge. I was so worried for you just now.
Me too.
For difficulty, I was like, oh my God, my sister's dead. Like, she's just gone. She's spaced.
So you're coming down the ladder. You see an orc just like arms pinwheeling, big smile on his face. Because admittedly, like Storm Boys didn't sign up to survive. They signed up for exactly this kind of bullshit.
Right.
Just the happiest camper flying at you. And Lyric, if there's one thing you hate in the world, it's a fucking smile. So as you're sliding down, you just bring your knee up. And as you unleash the sort of the blast from the old weapon hidden within
The kneecap?
yeah. Oh, very well done, sir. The orc's smile explodes, and his helmet tings off his rocket pack, which bounces him off a trajectory. So in slow motion, as you finish your descent and kind of take a brief, slightly less dignified moment to like click your knee back in, the orc just like ricochets off the ground behind you. And if we're watching from the front of the cockpit, as presumably Lyric now is in abject horror, or sorry, Alto now is in abject horror, just like cool guys don't look at explosions style, just orc pinwheels off behind you, and you find yourself on solid ground.
Amazing.
Do you say or do anything?
She's like, I'm helping.
Great.
It's what you wanted, right?
Yeah. This is. I guess it's more strained than that, since there's still a fucking vacuum in my face and now one way behind me. It's just like over the din of air rushing out of the cabin. Just great.
Alto, fewer compliments and more flying, please. And I think Valentine'd like to hit that door button again if he can.
Okay, first I got to see what happens to old Haldren, who rolled 1 failure, 1 threat. Yeah, Valentyne, you turn as you like slam the button, looking back. Suddenly, just like a massive piece of sheet metal comes like by your periphery, and you just see Haldren like forcing it forward with his spider arms out in like a classic like guy walking against the wind way, as he's kind of forcing it towards the things. He's like, "Don't worry, guys, I found some scrap." And then you push the button to open the back, and suddenly there is much, much more wind coming in. And you see him go, "Oh, off I go!" And he and this massive piece of sheet metal just go blasting back towards the exit. You can roll to try and close it, but this is a coordination and agility.
I think, yes, he would do that first. Yes, he would try to close the door.
Okay.
So coordination and agility.
Yep. This is going to be difficulty 2 because I feel like you were going to do it anyway.
True. All right, baby. 2 successes.
Hey.
So you slam the button. The klaxons go off again. The ramp comes up, and you just hear Haldren go, "Ow!" And then you just see a massive piece of sheet metal smash into him. He's like, "Ow! Oh! Oh no! My third left arm!" And then like a spider, like spindly spider thing, punches up and just like shoots up a bolt of thumbs up. And you hear him starting to like punch away at it. Alto, looking back, you realize that he's stripped just like a big chunk off one of the sort of cargo walls. So you see some exposed wall, and yeah, it seems his plan is to just like fast weld the viewport. That said, he's now at the back of the ship with it. So this is looking less likely. That said, you did deal with the Storm Boy situation sort of quicker than expected. So that's kind of relatively, all things considered, under control. I think your main threat now is the sort of 2 remaining fighter craft that are still very much on side. Admittedly, there are still storm boys around, but Alto, as you begin to correct course and pull you back towards the beacon, the clouds break and you see beautiful green sort of rolling highlands, if you will, beneath you. Unfortunately, these ones are swarming with a different kind of green, and it's a green that's screaming wah. You can see a massive orc horde assaulting an Imperial line. In the distance, you can see basilisks and other heavy Imperial armament just fucking laying down fire into this tide of green. But as your eyes adjust, you realize adjust being a strong term is like tears fly out of them. That the rolling green highlands are in fact a rolling green horde, and that the Vicodin factory is well under siege. Classified report from planet Vicodin. Oh yeah, they're here. There are a lot of them. We're gonna fight them? So the nervous transmission that opened our dear show today was indeed true. There are a lot of orcs, but happily there also seem to be a lot of guard. You can see through your blurred vision, Alto, the Imperial lines, and they are a ways away. But not impossibly far. And at, the kind of falling with style trajectory you've got going, you're probably going to be all right. So given that Haldren is stuck at the back of the ship, he's not going to be able to repair the viewport. So this really is more a race against all of you passing out and dying than it is, patch it up. Mm-hmm. And as Valentyne discovered from his brief conversation with Shift Commander Pocus, if you can get sort of within firing distance of the line, they will protect the remainder of your descent. So now you've kind of shifted to needing to hold these things off long enough to make it down. So now that you've broken through the cloud line, and these are fairly low clouds, but obviously there's still a lot of verticality going on. The storm boys that are still blasting along on their little rockets behind you. A couple of them, you can see the rockets are starting to falter, just because they're badly built and don't necessarily have that much fuel. But there's about 15 of them out there. So obviously they can't get the drop on you the way the other guys did, but they can certainly start gremlining on the wing and all that sort of shit. So you've got 15 storm boys and then the 3 fighter craft. Now that you've broken the cloud cover, you can see them kind of drop out of the clouds. The yellow one is trailing a massive billowing black plume of smoke from the hit that Lyric scored sort of across the fuselage earlier. Looks to be in pretty rough shape. The red craft is on fire a little bit, but it's a very small fire. And you think you can see a couple of, there seem to be 3 small green figures, 2 of whom are like using welding torches. One of them seems to have like a fire extinguisher of some sort. One has a welding torch. And there's a third one who's dangling on his safety cord, just like flailing horribly. They're too small for orcs, but Valentyne, you'd recognize them as Gretchens or Grots, the tiny enslaved workers of the orcs. But they seem to be patching the ship up rather quickly.
Think of them as space goblins for anybody.
They sound goblin.
Okay.
They are 100% space goblins, yes. And incredibly good minesweepers, I gotta tell you, from my time playing the army. Yeah, very good. Not that they'd find them, just you run them over and they explode. Yeah, as you do. And then there's the undamaged blue fighter craft that is nearby. You don't know that you can outrun these 3 craft. You'll have to deal with at least one of them in order to make it to the line. What do you do?
Since Lyric is down here, you said that the pilot can also handle the cannon,
Yep.
right?
And now that you're out of atmosphere and like actually kind of orbital rather than suborbital, whatever. Now that you're like planet side, much easier for you to operate, because now it is literally more like you're using a fighter craft rather than
Okay. I'll lower the goggles that I took from the snowmobile on our last planet, just to like keep my eyes from drying out. I'll just put them down over my eyes, and I will try to engage the laser cannon and shoot down one of these planes.
Okay, great. Can you roll me a gunnery check, please?
Yes, I can.
Which one are you shooting at, Tyler? You going for the yellow already injured, the red little bit injured, or the blue untouched?
That's a good question. Are they all equidistant from us?
Roughly, yes. The yellow one's a bit further away, only because it veered off so far. The red one's probably the closest, but is flying the most evasively. You can't be sure, but it seems almost like it's using the blue one for cover.
Then I guess it's the blue one that I would fire on. Yeah. Let me see here. Let me ask you this, sir. Since the method of operation for this laser cannon is through my piloting console, do I get benefits like my?
Yep, absolutely.
It's disappeared from my vocabulary, but you say yes. Okay.
Your brainy plug. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind impulse unit.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, like I said, brainy
Impulse
plug.
unit. Okay, so that applies. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, I need a difficulty.
You surely do. I forgot which game we're playing. Okay, so the blue one is closer. The other one's using it for cover, which means that they're probably flying slightly defensively, but badly because they're having to adjust for like, oh no, get out of there. So I'm gonna say this one's probably a 2, Tyler.
Okay.
I'm going to spend a story point just to make things interesting. So bump 1 red, 1 purple. That means we're at 2 and 2 in my favor. Or sorry, 2 and 2 in my favor.
And ours.
Yes, quite. The tables have turned, or have they? Yes, they have. We're not
How the
separate, you and I.
turn tables.
Wiki wah. It's your boy DJ Can't Math. Okay, cool. So, in terms of additional boost and threat, so you get your boost for your pluggy brain. You get 1 for Acri again, because I think anytime you're using systems stuff, I'll let you do that. I would normally give you disadvantage for the wind, but I like the goggles play, so I think we'll just say that for this round you're fine. Yeah, I think that's going to be it on my end.
Okay. All right, I'm ready to roll. I've got some points in gunnery, fortunately. So, hey, 4 advantages, 1 triumph.
Holy shit.
He'll shoot them and then open the back door again.
Well, Tyler, that is a good question. What is there a vital thing that you would like to do that you haven't been able to do?
Let's talk about the environment here. This is a planet dedicated solely to the production of a product. Is that right?
That is correct. Yep.
And so you mentioned these rolling green plains, but it was green because it was so densely packed with orcs.
It's incidentally both. It is best to imagine this as like the Scottish Highlands, just because
Okay.
I'm committing to the theme, as you do in the 40K universe. But in this case, also very green. Green with orcs, but also green with verdancy if there were no orcs or Imperial tanks blowing up orcs.
So if it is that kind of like Gaelic paradise, are there cliffs as well?
Yep, absolutely. And you can see, so like we seem to be on a sort of a larger island, but it's very much Acto from Last Jedi, where it's like there's these like big kind of massive islands of green rolling hills.
Okay.
Bunch of water, like cliffs to the water, bunch of water, more islands, that sort of thing.
Then I would like to fly along a cliff. So the wall, the rock wall is on one side of us, and actually fire the cannon into the cliff, causing rocks and debris to shower our pursuers. If I may.
That's metal as hell. Yes! Fuck, man. I'm not going to stand in the way of progress. Let's do it. Okay, cool. So here's what I'll give you then, based on that. So can you give me your score again there, Tyler?
4 advantages and 1 triumph.
Okay. So I'm going to say with that, you don't destroy the craft, but I'll let you blow the 4 advantage and the triumph. Basically, think like you're blowing a bunch of advantage to get the cliffs, and then you're blowing a triumph to get the like pew 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 at the rocks. That is fantastic. I'm gonna take the rules for them then. Okay. We've been doing a lot of you guys rolling up till now, but this is pretty fucking rad. So yeah, you've got like a clear. The beacon is clear now. Also, it should be. I should clarify. The Vicodin factory itself seems to be behind some kind of think like a very Naboo blue energy field. Okay. So there seems to actually be a legitimate energy bubble around the factory itself, and it's a massive industrial complex. Okay. You can tell that there's been some work done on the facade to make it seem kind of like nice for the first 2 stories, but then beyond that, it's just like a full fucking Victorian nightmare of just like smokestacks and like black metal and all that shit. But from like for the first 2 stories, very much like nice, slick, very inviting. There's wrought iron everywhere. Definitely skulls because 40K. But
unavoidable.
There is some degree of pageantry going on. That said, giant energy field around it, and the Imperial line seems to basically be kind of like up against that shield. Like they're not on the inside of the shield; they're definitely on the outside of the shield. And it
rough spot to be in.
It is, but this also this probably isn't something Alto would know. Valentyne.
Alto knows none of what is going on. Yeah. Every single detail, no matter how minute or massive, is new to Alto in this situation.
Yeah, just really 51st datesing it.
Yes, baby driver. Yes.
yes, same.
Driver.
But different.
I was gonna say, I think Valentyne at this point with the threat out would be back up near the front because they know where they're going to see and theoretically explain
yes, absolutely.
things.
And yes, I was about to throw to you there because I think like the threat of the craft in pursuit is still there, but also like Alto's manning the guns. The Storm Boys could come through again, so it actually kind of behooves both of you to be like ready-ish. But Valentyne, looking out, you're actually kind of shocked by how entrenched this fight seems to be. Like we're talking kind of like there's a World War I no man's land that's just like with the it's literally the mud of France, just like it's clearly corpse, blood, weapons, fire, artillery, shell. Like, this looks like a war that's been going on for a really fucking long time. Whereas your first instinct upon breaking the atmosphere was that this was an invasion. So it just strikes you as incredibly odd that either this conflict had got real dirty real fast, or it's been going on for a while.
He'd lean towards going on for a while just because there were no spacecraft. Like you would expect an invasion to have ships if it was coming in.
But also of note, and this could just be... actually, can you roll me a... I think this is going to be a scholastic lore. So I don't know what else it would be. Okay. Unless you have an argument for... just general things Valentyne knows about the state of the galaxy, but the galaxy's pretty fucking vast.
Stuff I have would be forbidden lore, streetwise or perception. It would just depend on if he picked it up somewhere in the past.
Let's do this as a streetwise. This seems more like if there's no reason you would know this, but Vicodin is an extraordinarily popular beverage. So the fact that like the world's like the galaxy's biggest like booze baron's factory is under siege is probably newsworthy.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, what's my difficulty?
This one's going to be pretty high because it's also not something you would have any interest in until this very moment. So I'm going to say this is a difficulty of 5. And I'm going to spend the 2 of the 4 points that are in my favor. I'm going to spend 2 to upgrade 2 of those to red.
Okay.
So truly a gruesome check, just because this is truly fucking obscure knowledge.
I will spend our 2 story points.
Whoa! As it was, so shall it be. 2 and 2 in my favor. It's my new ratio. It's like a kid who's bad at sharing. Like, yeah, it's our toy, but it's also mine.
So, Tom, I don't know if this would help or if this just removes stuff, but I have bionic eyes, which let me remove a challenge dice on perception due to environmental reasons.
Yes, sure.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll give it to you in as much as not that it applies directly to your like casting your mind back, but that it does apply to piecing together what you're seeing compared to what you know.
Cool. Alrighty, let's roll these long odds. 2 failures and 2 threat. Perfect.
Fantastic.
I can never tell which way it's going to go from
Just
the
as
tone
the
of your
Emperor
voice.
intended. I don't know what's going on. In fact, I've got several ideas, and I think they might be incorrect.
Yeah, so your brain is like your instinct leans towards this is a long entrenched fight. However, that doesn't make any sense because why the fuck would there be an Imperial Guard regiment on this planet? Why would no one know about it? Why wouldn't it be a bigger deal? I think you do that thing that I often do with like incredibly logical things like, hey, maybe do your taxes today, where you both talk yourself into it and then talk yourself out of it to a point where you've argued both sides so much that you're like, neutral.
Well, you know, this doesn't really seem like our priority concern. And he just looks over at Alto, who's just been flying, but has probably heard like 3 minutes of stream of consciousness thoughts. And he's like, I think we're just going to land as intended.
At which point Alto jams the stick. The craft goes fully horizontal, vertical, as it like peels up and over the edge of a cliff. Behind you, the 3, all of that was from what Alto was seeing. The 3 enemy craft pull in tight formation. The Magic School Bus, though, is definitely like flying a pretty shaky trajectory. And okay, Ork pilot, let's see what you got. He says and rolls. 4 success, 2 threat. Not bad. All right, so like doesn't elegantly fly up and over, just crashes through a small-ish ledge, and you think you can hear Will Arnett Lego Batman be like, first try, as rocks shower down, and over the comm you just hear like, oh, thank God that's all the rocks we got, or sorry, thank Mork that's all the rocks we got to deal with today. At which point, Alto, you open fire with the cannons. Okay, so I've got 3 Ork aircraft and 15 Storm Boys to play with. I'm going to roll a bunch of dice, and we're going to see what happens. Okay. So let's go with... we'll stick with yellow since we just did him. Tyler, what is your... how many ranks do you have in piloting, please?
I have 4 ranks.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go with 4 difficulty for me. I've got my piloting ranks, and let's see what happens. Oh, and the ship is damaged, so I'm going to give... Also, I should say, I'm rolling dice, so if you want to spend story points to jack up my difficulty, you're more than welcome to. Currently, I'm sitting at...
again.
I burned...
Oh, we have 2 again.
I burned 2, Ryan burned 2, so we're back to neutral. So currently I've got 2 green, 1 yellow, 4 purple, and 1 black. For
What do you guys think? Do you want to spend?
I think we let that one ride. I'm scared of that red plane.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Oh no.
It's a triumph and 2 threats.
Ooh.
Weird.
Okay, so so Magic School Bus manages to dodge the rocks, having learned from their unfortunate ledge adventure. Adventure? Nah, none of them really work, but you know what I mean. They learned enough to dodge, so they pull out, but in doing so unexpectedly, they clip the wing of the... shit, I don't have a regular dice. Flip a coin. Blue. They clip the tail of the blue craft, causing it to have to readjust and go straight into the rocks. So it's gonna have a much harder difficulty set. That said, that triumph is pretty good. So I'm gonna say Magic School Bus, Orcish Miss Frizzle gets off a hell of a shot and manages to blow your cannon. So they use the triumph to knock out your cannon, but
Bill Arnett, classic voice of Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Let's go explore.
Make mistakes.
There's the one. Yeah, and the chameleon is just Buster. Like, great. So Orcish Miss Frizzle Will Arnett knocks out your turret, but also knocks blue into the rocks. So blue is going to have 2 purple, 2 red, 2 black, 1 blue, 2 green, 1 yellow. So their odds are currently very bad. You can make them worse if you so desire.
That sounds okay to me.
Yeah, I think we don't want Storm Boys in the cabin again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What a fucking weird wash. All right, came out with 1 threat. So rocks pummel the ship, but it kind of dips down and is still up, but also didn't do very well, so it's not like it gets a free shot. But now we've come to the one we were really worried about, which is the red pilot. Valentyne, you remember from your training that orcs put a lot of value in red paint jobs. Teenage Tom McGee put 10 points in them to earn an extra inch of movement on all vehicles. But this vehicle is surely blessed by the heathen orc gods, or perhaps more correctly, as Lyric has seen through the psyker abilities of its pilot. So red is bringing up the rear, using the others 2 for cover. So we're gonna say 3 purple. I've got 2 yellow, 1 green, 2 black from the rocks falling, 1 blue from the red paint job.
This is the one, right?
Story?
Spend a story point.
Yeah, I'd spend a story point making this harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. So
And then for narrative reasons, we'll say it's the one plane hitting the other that then tries to fly into the wall to dodge rocks.
it's the Darth Vader syndrome of I've got this, and then everyone else is like, yeah, we're bad at flying. He's like, oh poop. It's a line George Lucas added along with Greedo being like, Shibuska! Fuck that guy. All right. 2 success, 2 threat. Jesus, these orcs, man.
Shit.
All right, so
Man.
the red pilot manages to pull through, but 2 threat is again a problem. So, okay, so with the 2 threat and given the narrative reason Ryan just gave, I'm gonna say that what basically happens is Magic School Bus clips blue, blue flies into the rocks, is managing to pull out, and then red, kind of out of frustration of being behind these 2, finally just takes its move and blasts through. So now both yellow and blue are off your tail. Red is coming in hot, though. You no longer have weapons. But I have one more thing to roll. And that's them sweet, sweet Storm Boys.
We would like to use a story point.
Fair enough. I will also tell you, their odds are not as good because they do not have a giant metal fuselage around them.
That's true. But I think Valentyne
the
is
odds
sitting.
have fucked us so far anyway. So
Yeah,
story
seriously.
point, those sons of bitches.
Valentyne is sitting strapped into the co-pilot seat, but he has his gun in hand, ready to just shoot bolts into any green face he sees.
Fair enough. Ooh. One failure, 6 threat.
Good.
Did we spend those threat for 2 despairs?
I mean, I don't know that they need any more despair. I think they're good. As Red just like puts the pedal to the metal, blasts through a bunch of Storm Boys, and Dust in the Wind begins to play as rocks are just pummeling them, and they're just like falling through the air. And one of them, just before he hits the rocky shore below, goes, "Oh, so that's what the world looks like upside down. Beautiful." And then his head explodes. But the good news is you're down to just the one ace pilot flying the red craft. And you hear over your Vox coder, "Hey, this is a lot of fun. Who am I talking to? This here's Zigzag Zorg, Wah and such."
This is Valentyne just picks it up and he's like, "This is Inquisitor Valentyne of His Imperial Majesty's Holy Inquisition. Chug off."
Whoa, feisty. I like it. And then he hangs up. He's like, "Hey, Squids, fix the craft. We gotta shoot these guys now."
Oh, Wah and such.
I have a follow-up question. Sorry, I was
No, I'm sorry. I'm too busy chugging off over here.
No.
And he
I was
hangs up on you.
No, I'm incredibly sorry. I was talking to one of my companions. She's incredibly rude, just incredibly. So, I punched her in the face and took 2 of her teeth, like a boss would.
Ooh.
So, interesting fact.
Put
This
my
should be
brass
something
knuckles on.
Valentyne would know. No, but Orc. For people who know Valentyne's brain, teeth are Orc currency. You have to knock them out of another Orc's head to get them. And Orcs always rule through violence. So he's trying to play a I make sense to Orcs card.
Look, I totally get it, man. I'm going to need... I think it's just deception, but I kind of want it to be skullduggery, but I think it's deception.
Cool.
Yeah, it's deception.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me too.
So deception and cunning, please. Difficulty of... Lyric, would you say anything to that, or would you just quietly put on your brass knuckles?
It is just very like, I don't know if this is like, if he's being passive aggressive, like.
Gotcha.
But-
Okay. If you don't say anything, that doesn't affect the roll.
I feel like he'd also quickly release the transmit button. He's learned from her in the past.
I mean, we'll see. Great. Okay. So I'm going to say this is a pretty... but you brought up the teeth. I'm going to say 3 purple. Because you're also not trying to make him do anything other than just listen to you for a hot second. This is just an extended apology.
Yeah. Anytime he's talking, he's not shooting. So it's a win.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to give you 1 blue because you actually believe the lie. Not the teeth part, but you do believe she's annoying.
Emotionally, it's true.
Yeah, like you picked an easy lie.
All right, let's see what happens. Oh, that is weird. Okay, Tom, I've got 3 failures, but 5 advantage.
Ooh, boy.
What?
Okay.
Tom, how many advantage do I have to spend for a triumph?
You can spend, it's advantage or triumph, but you could spend 3 to get, You unfortunately can't spend advantage to get a do something vital, if that's what you're after.
No, but a triumph is worth 3 successes. So if I could...
you can't exchange advantage for triumph. You can just use advantage and triumph for similar things.
But that's what I wanted, Tom.
I'm sorry, bud. I know. Maybe next year, champ. Just keep saving up your advantage.
Go. You can go. I know I have an idea for advantage, but let's hear where the failures take us.
Okay, well, give me your advantage, and I'll tell you where the failure
I was going to say, if I can confuse the pilot behind us, I would just like to pass advantage to Alto, who's flying.
Yeah, I was kind of going to lean that way as well. That said, the threat is... Or the failure is pretty drastic. So
I knew I should have used a Cockney accent, he says to himself.
Okay, all right. Yikes. So here's what's going to happen. You've got the pilot at least talking, which is distracting him slightly. However, you also failed, so he definitely doesn't get on side. You give the advantage to Alto because it gives him a little bit of time to figure out what he's going to do next, particularly now that the turret is down. However, there is a storm that you did not expect of boys as the malfunctioning rockets slam into the back of the ship. Their pilots are long dead, but 15 misguided rocket smashed missiles can do a hell of a number. And as they pummel into the ship, Alto, suddenly your HUD cuts out as the ship takes massive system strain from the pummeling of Orks into key systems. So suddenly the like onboard mechanics cut out. You hear Acri say like, "Well, now hang on just a goddamn minute." And then the sort of power to his Vox is cut off. And suddenly you're in that horrible moment of the plane just whistling through the air, not flying so much. And because you were flying vertically,
perpendicular to the ground, yeah.
It starts just kind of like veering down in an arc. Good news is you have Ryan. You had 4.
What's the good news?
You had 4
advantage.
5 advantage. So, Tyler, you can gain 2 boost to your next roll.
Okay. Well, is it my roll now, or are we? Is it?
Yeah. So we're over to you.
Okay.
You're the pilot. It will not surprise you to know that Lyric is not helpful in this situation. But she is putting on brass knuckles in case she has to fight for teeth, which might actually turn out to be an important inquisitorial thing. She's not really sure. But, best to be ready. Right.
Valentine's just hanging onto a seat rest, yelling like, "Can he do it? Yes, he can. We are not meant to die here."
All right. So, Alto, what the fuck are you gonna do?
Alto, I think just maybe only for his own sake. It just I can fix this. I can fix this. And I would like to use my determined driver skill.
Okay. What does that do?
Oh, I can't. I have to spend a story point to use it. We're out of story points.
Oh shit! That you are.
Yep. Okay.
Well, hang on. This sounds like a devil's bargain to old Tommy. I will give you a story point, but I think, okay. Alto, I will give you a story point for this, but it'll basically be using yourself to jumpstart the craft, and it will temporarily, possibly permanently fry your onboard
Brain?
no, like your beautiful little pluggy brain.
My mind impulse unit.
Yeah. Now, this isn't like, it's rare technology. It's not incredibly rare technology. So the odds of finding someone who could repair it are not 0, but it's a little bit like Lyric losing her leg. It's kind of a, hopefully there will be a solution to this somewhere around, but I can't guarantee it. Plus, you like lovingly built. This is, I feel like, your Phantom Menace C-3PO that you built. So it's also like, how badly do you want to fry this thing? So anyway, up to you.
It doesn't even feel like a choice. Like it would like go dead stick and crash, or blow this thing and get power back on. You said there's a chance that I'll destroy it, or that I will be trading this to activate.
So
the
here's the
systems
thing.
on our ship.
It's a trade right now. You don't know how severe the and this is kind of what this is less a mechanical question, more kind of a character question. It's the kind of thing where it's like, I think it's Crossing the Streams and Ghostbusters. I could conceivably do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think my Mind Impulse unit would survive it. I don't know. I've never done it. It might just damage it, and then I could get it repaired, or it might fry it.
All right. Sure, let's do it. The Ghostbusters cross the streams and not a fucking scratch on them. They got covered in marshmallows. No problem. Easy peasy.
Okay, good. So go ahead and do your Determined Driver.
Yeah, so that's healing system strain equal to my driving, which is 4 points of system strain recovered.
Okay, so your starting system strain was 10, and you took more than 10. So this will bring it back up to 4. Okay. What does it feel like to jumpstart this from your body?
If what I'm using is my Mind Impulse unit, I think because Alto is a kind of, as we've seen, sort of, he's got like a raw talent, unrefined kind of skill in tech use and driving. So I think it's very much a force of will. Mm-hmm. I think it's almost like clenching a muscle to make it work, a muscle that isn't a part of his anatomy, but like one that he feels he has all the same. And so he surges his will into this console to get it to jumpstart and come back online.
Okay. Second devil's bargain for you.
You're killing me, dude. Yeah, let's hit it. What's up?
As you do this, you fire up, like you can feel the system starting to come alive around you as you just feed your will into this machine. Mm-hmm. And for a minute, you have kind of the sensation of what Valentyne was talking about driving a Titan, or like what that must feel like, to kind of literally, enforce your spirit on a machine. And as the systems begin to come back online, Acri just kind of, you sort of hear him in your mind being like, well, damn, that's quite a thing you're doing. And as he says that, you realize, similar to kind of looking at a switch, you might be able to throw all of this onto him. It'll absolutely kill him, but it'll save your Mind Impulse unit. Like, you can feel his energy starting to feed in, and you realize if you just short it through him, you can basically use Acri's brain as a fuse.
Oh, that's an easy choice.
Yeah.
Man, we can't even help you. This is just an Alto world.
Yeah.
And no one else would ever need to know, because as far as anyone else is concerned, the ship died when the Orks hit. So this is something only you would know.
But I would know that I did it. Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is a conscious decision.
I don't, here's the thing is, I don't think it's a decision for Alto. He's so meek in some ways that it's like he wouldn't do it. He would take it on himself and blow the Mind Impulse unit.
Cool. So you can feel just sort of that you could tip it over onto him, but Alto just, the thought of killing, admittedly, like your friend, you guys have spent more time, you played a bunch of video games together.
Yeah, every time I'm plugged into a ship, he's there.
Yeah. So without even really considering it, you pull back from the edge, and as you felt your will for just a beautiful moment feeding into the machine, suddenly you feel all of its power cycle back and feed into you, which is when your mind impulse unit explodes and everything goes dark.
Okay. So it just sparks and smoke out the back of my head.
Along with a not inconsiderable amount of flesh and a little bit of skull.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Alto, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Lyric, and our Game Master Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode was edited by Ryan LaPlante, and the Valentyne Heresy's show logo was created by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, provided by freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Olin Anderson, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord Abradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.